Yeah.
All right, here we go, guys. Back by popular demand. Yes, it's us. We have not been on for months. Flying High with the Birds, Philadelphia Eagles Talk podcast. I am the Godfather. With me right now are Will Seal the Deal Sealy. How are you, Will?
What's up, guys? I'm good.
And you know that when the Armenian Hammer gets on, he's going to say, "What deal is he sailing?" So, and also the podcast chaplain, Jimbo. What's up, Jimmy?
9-1, boys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Let's
Yep.
go.
Yep, you're right. All right. Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs Monday night, 21-17, to go to 9-1, which is unbelievable. They got a 2-game lead over Dallas and in the division and a 1-game lead in the whole conference over the Detroit Lions. But the Eagles are now getting into the thick of their schedule, the murderer's row of their schedule. But we're here to talk about this game and the way the season's been going this year. Let's get it started. Jimbo, let's talk about, the game and what you thought. And was the F-bomb being thrown around during the game there, Jim?
Oh yeah, especially that first half. But they won another one. 9-1, down 10 points at half. And what do? They come back, win the second half, dominate on D the second half. And how many teams have gone into Arrowhead and held Mahomes scoreless in 2 quarters?
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. I got to tell you this incredible stat.
My
In the
my
last
one question
Go ahead.
is, like I was saying to you yesterday, is like, what was Andy Reid thinking, not running the ball anymore?
Well,
Because it
that's
worked
the way
in the
he.
first half. He had
Well, that's
120 plus yards.
well, that's the way he coaches in the second half of games. But he never had that problem before because he's got a great quarterback under center that normally gets him out of those bad decisions that he makes. But I agree with you. Why did he stop running the ball? And they were gashing the Eagles, defense in the first half, even though the Eagles, did kind of, right the ship a little bit in the second half. But one incredible stat that I had heard is that in the last 2 weeks, the Eagles have given up in total, against Dallas and Kansas City, 6 points. That's incredible. 6 points that they gave up. So you have to give some credence to the defense and the changes that are being made by Sean Desai, who I feel, I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like he's like he gets about a B plus right now. What do you think, Will?
I just think the story of this team this year is really the changes that they make at halftime. Because we were talking earlier. This team really doesn't look like they've put their best game out on tape yet, and they look sloppy. They just haven't beat down on teams. But what's so good about them is however bad the first half goes, they go into halftime, they make like the perfect adjustments, it seems like, where they slow down the other team and then they just put it together in the second half and they just get it done. They're not destroying teams this year, but they're just so talented. And really, you got to tip your hat to the coaching staff and the changes that they're making. But really, I mean, I just think like the one of the main reasons that we're struggling so much, or we just haven't looked like the team that we did last year, our offensive coordinator is a moron. Like, he's horrible. He called like 6 screen passes in a row. And then I heard today that the long pass to Smith, the one that he caught at the 1 yard line, Jalen Hurts audibled out of that because that also was a screen pass. I mean, what I just don't understand with this guy. Like, it's like he's looking up on his phone, he's Googling, how do I counter the blitz? And it's just like, oh, throw a screen pass. And he's just like drawing up different screen passes over and over and over again. And it's so predictable. I'm just like sick of it. I don't even know how I'm getting frustrated with the Eagles and we're 9-1.
Yeah, they're 9-1,
9-1.
but Right, but I agree. I am getting frustrated with him, and you can tell by the body language of Hurts, even though Hurts has been very close with Brian Johnson over the years. I think he's been frustrated quite a bit too. I think the biggest thing that confuses me with his play calling is Hurts is playing injured, and there's so many plays where there's running plays for Hurts, and you could see that he's nowhere near 100% when he takes the snap from scrimmage. So
Well,
I don't understand it.
think about like the first 4 weeks of the season, and we were really struggling in the red zone. Well, every single time we got down to the red zone, we were just doing QB draws to like the right and the left, and it was so dumb. And you could see that Hurts really there was something going on with his knee, but it's like we had no plays. There was no plays once we got inside the 20. And now it's just like, all right, they're trying to blitz us. We're just going to keep throwing screens. I don't even care if the corners are playing man and right up in the receiver's face, and they know the screen's coming. We're just going to throw it anyway.
Yeah, I agree. But I still think that it is a big weapon having him run. In fact, remember the one play, I think it was third and about 5, and it looks like Hertz changed the play at the line of scrimmage. And remember how Kelsey looked behind him and started shaking his head no, like it's not going to work. And Hertz went with it anyway, and he got the first down. So uh, one thing I got to say about Hertz is that um, he can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, but one thing about Hertz is that it just seems like he never gets like the pressure just doesn't get to him. When he has a very bad series, he just sits on the bench. He just relaxes. He doesn't say anything to anybody, and he's just ready for the next series. So I think he pulls the entire offense out of a lot of the issues. What do you guys think so far of the DeAndre Swift acquisition?
What a great trade that was. The part that I don't get is he was their number two coming out of camp. They had him number two on the depth chart. And I think he
Right,
got
and
one catch. He got
one
one touch the
carry.
first game, and then they
Yeah.
put him in the second game, and he's been lights out since.
I think, and this is going to be the big, like, redeeming question that we have during the offseason. Do you guys think that even though he's a running back, that he is due for an extension, a long-term extension, not just a 1-year deal?
Yeah, that's what scares me. I think someone is going to offer him, a long-term contract with guaranteed money.
Yeah, the Eagles are just not that type of team that's going to pay a running back, especially even though he's been so great, his injury history with other teams just hasn't been, you know, he just hasn't been on the field all the time. I just don't see the Eagles doing it. But, just to get back, like if we're talking about Swift, I mean, I think he was a great acquisition this year. And a big part of his game is, Hurts being able to run because it opens up a lot of stuff. But the last few weeks with Hurts trying to, be more of a traditional quarterback and stay inside the pocket, you didn't see that explosiveness the last few weeks. But this week, it looked like since his knee was healthy, you saw a lot out of Swift too. So those two, I feel like, just go hand in hand with each other. Like if Hurts is healthy and he has the threat of running, it makes Swift that much better.
I think that another big reason why he was a big part of the offensive scheme the other night was because they didn't have Dallas Goedert and they needed in. He was lining up a lot in the slot too. So I think that his role is going to increase big time over the next 3 or 4 weeks with Goddard being out. But that's going to be an issue too, not having an efficient tight end because the other like there's a major drop off between Goddard and the other 2 or 3 tight ends on this team. So it's almost like they got to play with mirrors again, when they play Buffalo this week. What do you think, Jim?
No, I agree 100%. They got to get hopefully God. What were they saying? 4 weeks, 5 weeks
Maybe
for
4.
Goddard.
He's not on
He's on
IR. So
IR,
that's a
right?
big, yeah.
I mean,
So,
they hopefully we can get him back toward the end of the year, maybe toward the last 3 games. What do we have? The
yeah,
Giants and Cardinals the last couple games.
yeah. They got to play the Giants twice and the Cardinals. and the rest of this murderer's row schedule is Dallas, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas, and Seattle. And you can't,
Right.
you Seattle's a very good team too. So
And that's away too. That's a tough, that's away.
yeah, that's going to be at Seattle. So, but you figure that in this schedule of the 6 games, a lot of people would be happy if they went 3-3. They're all already 2-0.
Right.
The big game is Dallas. Like I would have rather beat Dallas twice than beat Kansas City because it's obviously a conference game. So that still is going to be a very big game. Well, one other thing I'd like to mention. Let's stick real quick with Brian Johnson in this Kansas City game. The only good series of play calling that I saw was when they scored their second touchdown. When they did that one play to Swift coming across the line of scrimmage from the other direction for the 30-yard gain. And then they had 2 or 3 other really good plays, a couple good pass plays mixed in there. And they did have a couple different personnel packages, like 21. They had a lot of 21. They had some 12. And they had times where there was nobody. It was an empty backfield. So that one series was good, but every other series just seemed to be like, to me, just seemed to be lost. And I just feel like Johnson's finding his way. Do we give him a pass this year for next year? Or do we just call it a day and just say, no, he's not going to be the guy long term?
I
What do you
can't
think, Will?
I can't give anybody a pass because the team is too good and they're ready to win right now. If we were like rebuilding, I'd give him a pass because he's a first year play caller. But this team is too good. You can't let a team this good just let somebody learn on the fly. I mean, he's got to be
Yeah.
better. I'm okay
Yeah.
with him learn on the fly, but he has to be better. He has to make an impact this year.
They'll be
Oh, yeah.
calling for him if he calls them a playoff game with his play
Yeah,
calling.
he'll be going if he
That's
calls.
what scares me. That's what scares me.
Well, I heard on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. I forget whose podcast it was. One of the NFL guys that he could be up for a head coaching. I mean, not a head coach, an not offensive coordinator, possibly a head coaching job by next year. That is like way out of the
Really?
realm of possibility for me. That's what I had heard, but I mean, it's so far out in left field.
I can
You
only
know,
see
Well,
somebody saying that just because you always see like a lot of coordinators have opportunities to get jobs on winning teams. And if the Eagles do go deep, and let's say they go to the conference championship or the Super Bowl, he might get an interview just because he was offensive coordinator of a really good team. And we still are. I think we're third in the league for most points scored. I think that's more because we have a lot of talent, but I can see the argument somebody saying, yeah, he could get an interview.
if JG can
um,
get a job, anybody can get a job, right?
absolutely. But
He doesn't look that bad.
let's change gears real quick to the second biggest problem this team has, and it's been ever since Avante Maddox got hurt at slot corner. Dallas was just a horrible game for CeeDee Lamb. Ran all over the Eagles, and the Eagles used 3 different slot corners. Bradley Roby came off the injured list, and in my opinion, I think really settled in at the slot. Um, I like him. He's got a little bit of juice, Jimmy. What do you think?
No, I agree. I definitely agree. I definitely like him.
I mean, I think he played 2 games, and he caused the fumble in the first game too. And I think they got the football back in the first game. And that
Yeah,
the one he caused on Travis Kelce Monday night was huge. I mean, that was huge because Kansas City was about to go up by 2 scores in that game. So that, I listen, if the guy makes plays, that's great. And I know that they said he's got ball skills, and him and Bayard. I mean, Bayard, I know, Will, you may feel different about this. I know that he's had a hard time like fitting in so far. I just think that Bayard is slowly but surely getting there. And that
yeah,
pick he had the other night shows that he's got ball skills.
yeah, that was a nice pick. But then the other one, he had Watson. Wasn't Watson his man when he was wide open for that
Yeah,
touch?
he completely let him go because he was
Yeah,
in the
but that's miscommunication.
Yeah, no, I
exactly.
agree.
And I'm not against Byard. I think he's a really good player. I think it's just going to take time for him to get acclimated to the scheme. And those corners got to all be on the same page. That's why I think you see a lot of miscommunication and why it looks like he's not as good as he normally is. But I think with time, he's going to get better and better. So I don't have any problem with him. And Roby, I think Roby's a good fit just because mainly he just has experience. He's not as fast as he used to be. As you saw, he got burnt. Thank God. What's his name? The guy dropped
Scanling
yeah, Scanlon
in
dropped
the
the
end
ball
zone.
against.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he's not as fast anymore, but he's experienced, and that's kind of what this team needs because there's really nobody else that can step up in that slot role. I mean, we've tried everybody. At least this guy has experience and he's making plays. That's kind of what the team needs.
Yeah, but I mean, but they either have rookies or new guys on this team. I mean, look at the difference in the cornerbacks so far. They got Eli Ricks, who is a rookie free agent, who I think has really. I mean, you got to give him a lot of credit. He was not a slot corner in college. He comes out of nowhere and he's playing slot corner. He had a couple good games, and I mean, I know he struggled against Dallas, but I really like him, and I think he's got a future on this team. Keely Ringo, who is a rookie, hasn't played. Josh Jobe, who started out as the first guy off the bench, and I don't know where he's been lately. Bradley Roby, who they just picked up not too long ago. Sidney Brown, who's a rookie. Justin Evans, who they just picked up, who I really think is a good player. And hopefully he'll be ready to go. There's something about him that I like and Byard. So they got a lot of new guys here, and I think the longer the season goes, the more that they'll be able to communicate with each other, and it'll be a little bit better for them.
Is Byard's contract up after this year?
I think it's next year.
Yeah,
I think he's got another
yeah, 2
year.
years.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's 31 years old, and I don't think he has to be a speed demon playing safety. But the fact that he is a ball hawk back there, and he's a Philly guy too, I think makes it
Yeah.
even more interesting. And the funny thing is, Byard and Swift are Philly guys, and I think those reasons alone make the two of them really want to be with this team next year. I know that DeAndre Swift wants to be with this football team next year and wants to
There
work
he
it out.
is.
Yeah,
There
there's
There he
the.
is. Hey.
I'm
You
using the
guys don't-
hammer.
I'm so stupid. I'm trying to Skype.
Yeah, oh
because
my God, the hammer. Oh my God. Are you
my
coming
work.
from the we thought for a minute that Brian Johnson was going to be our fourth guy on today, but it's great to
No,
have you
because I
on.
usually have my work laptop, so I automatically goes there. But I completely forgot whether we're using the Zoom or Skype. So I'm trying to Skype, it's not working.
Oh my God. Now, obviously that's not going to work. So, but no, Valle, we've been talking a lot about the
Hold on.
problems at slot corner and also
Yes.
the decision making of Brian Johnson, which I think is, and I also think that Brian Johnson's going to be a little bit better. I gotta ask you this question because on our text, sometimes you really let it roll on the text when you're upset. But what's this about? Kelsey needs to retire.
Well, I mean, did you see the whole? He wasn't able to hold the fort. I mean, they constantly in the first half. I mean, it was like an amateur hour. Did you guys watch the game?
We watched it.
I mean, honestly, I mean, the first half, there was one play, Lane Johnson just stopped. He didn't do anything, just stopped, right? And then you turn around and you see like Hurts doesn't know what he's doing, and then suddenly the whole thing collapsed. I mean, it is Brian Johnson is not being able to call the right plays. I think probably that's what it is. Because today there was a news conference that Jalen Hurts was on, and he was trying to defend Brian Johnson that he's he's a very smart guy. He's been doing this for like forever, and so obviously there's some heat, on the guy that he
There's
doesn't
no
know what
doubt
he's
about
doing.
it. Well, no doubt about it. I mean, and that's his friend also, so he's going to stick up for him. But you can see by the body language on the sideline when things aren't going so good. It all to me it looks like Hurts is really upset with him
Oh,
on the
he is. Oh,
sideline. It just seems like he is,
it's
and they
coming
don't
up for
talk
him.
that much. There's not a lot of communication with the two of them on the sideline, so that's why I think that all is not good in that regard. But bottom line is they're 9-1, so you know
Just
I don't know,
just imagine
but
getting a play call in your headset of a screen pass for the sixth straight time.
It's like, what is this?
well,
Like you said, good thing he audibled at the line when you threw it
Yeah,
to Devontae.
he probably
I
had.
think I think their game plan was to do that because of the weather. And I guess Kansas City figured it out. But I mean, the whole first half, it seems like Spagnuolo just knew exactly what play was being called and knew how to attack it. But
And
I will say
first time,
this: Kansas City's defense
first
is
time
better.
happened lately a lot. For some reason, you feel that basically they know what the play's going to be.
Because it's too predictable, Vahe. Like we
Yeah.
know what's being called. And there's no motions. You know what side the ball's going to. You know what route the guys are running. Like it's just so predictable.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is there such little, if any, pre-snap motion on this football team? I don't get it. Kansas City does it ridiculously back and forth. The Eagles don't do it. Is that by design? Is it because guys don't want to do it? I'm clueless on this one.
Yeah,
Goes back.
I'm a loss of words. I got nothing.
Kansas City did a bunch of crazy things the other night too.
Yeah.
In motion, going in motion. They were pulling guys all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, how about that? Going back to defense, did you see that one play where Jalen Carter almost intercepted the
Yeah,
intercepted the ball that Mahomes
yeah.
tried to spike? I
That
mean,
was
he came
awesome.
really close to that.
He just missed that ball. Someone sent me the video of that. I was like, he just missed that.
Yeah, he said in the locker room after that he saw it on YouTube, so he wanted to try it.
It looked like he was on one of those slipping slides. It just slid right under there.
Yeah, he came really close.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that guy, I forget the guy's name. That was I can't think of the guy's number or name that was blocking him. He's a really good guard. They have a very good offensive line, and they gave the Eagles defense all they could handle. And that's the one big thing with Kansas City, I think, that makes them stand out as their offensive line, besides Mahomes being as good as he is. But, listen, let's face it. Mahomes doesn't have anywhere near the host of receivers that Hurts has to deal with. So I think that could end up being, something that's really going to hurt Kansas City down the line.
Yeah, and Kelsey looks like he's on the decline.
He's not really. He's not really into it anymore. You can feel like
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's hurt. I think he's hurt. What was it his ankle or his knee that was hurting him earlier in the year? And whatever it is,
he hurt his knee right before week 1.
I still don't think he's 100%. The guy that's been that's really been getting a lot of the pass the receiving catches is that Justin Watson. Let me tell you about him real quick. Justin Watson is a PA kid. He's from a small school from outside of Pittsburgh, and I actually saw him in the state title game in high school back in 2010, and they beat Imhotep Charter, which was then and still is a powerhouse. They beat him 41-0, and he was a one-man well, I shouldn't say one-man show, but he had a lot of receiving yards, and I do remember him. He ends up going to Penn. He's a 3-time, even though it's the Ivy League, but he's a 3-time first-team All-Ivy League player. He's a state champion in football. I think he was first-team All-State, if my mind serves me right. He was also was a 2-time Ivy League champion, 3-time first-team All-Ivy League, and he won 2 Super Bowls. This guy's got a lot of accolades. And outside of the one where he did the alligator arms in the middle of the field. He had a really respectable game, and he's a very good receiver for them.
Yeah.
Justin Watson. I actually remembered him when he was in high school, and a really smart kid too. So
Mahomes came right back to him after he dropped that ball too.
well,
He
that's
converted
just
third down right in. He alligatored the second down. Mahomes turned right back to him on third down, and he caught it.
yeah, absolutely. What do you guys think of special teams, and especially Britton Covey so far?
You're still waiting for him to break one, right?
Don't
Yeah,
matter.
I mean, the whole thing is around.
He's getting big. He's getting something big every week. He had a 26 and a 20 last week. That's all you can ask. I mean, who cares if he don't, bring one back for a touchdown? You could see that he really wants something to happen when, when he gets a punt. I like him, and I just hope they keep him. So, I always feel like he doesn't get enough fanfare. Why
They
don't
really don't have
we?
any other options, right?
They
He's
really don't.
Yeah.
But they don't want to have any other. Well, the
No,
other
he's fine.
option would be, yeah, but the other option is the receiver, Olamide Zacchaeus. But I am fine with Covey, and I don't mind them, doing a roster spot for him. Before we take a quick break, what do you guys think of the punter, Braden Mann?
Oh my God, so much better. So much better.
I mean, he's good. I mean, he does a really good job on the holding for the extra points.
Oh.
He's good. He's a very good punter. I like him. I think he's really going to be, I think he's going to be with this team for a while. So, but anyway, before we go to next week's games, let's have a quick break. I'm on cue. I don't have anything to read, but we're going to do a commercial for Kitchen World. Is your kitchen in need of repair, not in good shape, outdated big time? Kitchen World offers the latest and greatest in door styles, different types of laminate finishes, custom, semi-custom, even stock cabinetry. They do it all, even the design of the mold, everything, right down to the molding details. We've been in business for 35 years with dealerships or showrooms in Philadelphia, Montgomery County, and Bucks County. That is Kitchen World. For an appointment, call 215-744-6447 or check us out at www.kitchen-worldinc.com. Before I go to Buffalo, quick shout out to Jughead in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, the lovely Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. So Jughead, if you're out there, what's up? All right, let's talk Buffalo. Bahe, what is the spread and what is it telling you?
The spread start is -3.5. Now it's down to 3. I think this is a trap game. I think they're going to lose this game.
Bye, come on, man. We haven't done a podcast all year. You're gonna come on here and say that you got Buffalo.
He's never
Gee, you came late to the podcast. We haven't done a podcast all year, and then you're gonna come on here, and the fifth thing that you say is that the Bills.
Because it's a trap game. The thing, I thought they're going to lose the Monday night game. I mean, after the first half, I said, done. I mean, no way they're coming back. Down 10 points, even though it's ironic, it was the same thing as the Super Bowl. But I said, the way they're playing, there's no way these people are coming back. And they end up winning. I mean, that was like really, really unexpected, even for them. I'll bet you they all thought they're going to lose, But I think that's going to be a letdown. I think that game took a lot from them.
I agree.
It's a short week. Buffalo needs the game. Buffalo needs the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. They have 5 losses.
They're in free fall still. I mean, they got that win last week, but they're in free fall. What are they? 6-5?
6 and 5
I think they're
right
out.
now.
I think they're out of the playoffs as of now.
They're on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
I know that ever since and I can't think of the guy's name, they lost their Mike linebacker, who was a very big part of their defense. And since that happened, and they've had other injuries too, they have struggled. But I'll tell you, when they're on, they can I mean, some of their wins are blowouts. So, that's a team that's capable of scoring a lot of points, but they have a lot of duds on their record too, where they lost to teams that they should have beaten. So
Like Denver.
I agree. I agree. It could be a trap game. I personally feel like it's not going to be. I think the Eagles are going to come out revived, knowing that they know that it could be a trap game. And I think they escaped with relatively no injuries from the other night. Am I correct? I don't think
Yeah,
there's any.
First report, there's a couple of them. They have just I think DeAndre Swift has some ankle issue, but nothing is serious. Just basically, they said it's limited. But coming back to see, if you're looking at the line, right? The Eagles are 9-1 at home. Buffalo is 6-5, and they're 1-3 on the road. They hardly win on the road, right? And yet the line only says basically -3 points. What does it tell you, right? You have the team with the best record in the whole league, right? Playing at home against a team was 6 wins, 5 losses, and most of the losses are on the road, and yet it's only -3.
And you get 3 automatically for being the home team.
Yeah, I mean
that's right.
Even game.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was 3. Once you said that, I was like, oh wow. Because usually you get 3 just for being home, and if it's still at 3 or it dropped to 2, you said.
Actually, started with 3.5, and now it's down to 3. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like if it's not a major red flag, I think it's a minor red flag that basically is that they think that it's going to be tight game and that can go either way.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I think it could be. I just don't think the Eagles are going to let that happen. And not having one less day to prepare, I think is going to hurt, because they only had one off day. They had to come back to work today to actually get the game plan for this week. I just think they have it in them where I just have a different feeling about this game. San Francisco, I think, is next week. If I'm correct, that game, and that's home as well, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Dallas.
That's going to be
then Dallas,
because San Fran plays tomorrow, so they're going to have extra rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Shanahan said they're coming out to Philly early next week just to get on.
Yeah, that's their Super Bowl. That's their Super Bowl. That's all
they've been talking about this game since January, right?
So, when you really think about it, though, they really do need this game Sunday, because to me, it's the next 2 weeks that really worry me. So, I mean, potentially they could lose the next 3 games and be in second place in their own division. Forget the conference, but in their own division. I mean, they're only 2 games behind Dallas right now. So that Jets loss, even though they only have 1 loss, that Jets loss may loom large for them down the road if that's what it comes down to. But I just think that
I think Dallas still has to play Detroit and Miami.
Yeah,
they're going to beat Detroit, and they're going to beat Miami too. I think.
So I think the Eagles are, even with a loss, even 2 losses, I still think they're going to win the division.
Yeah.
I still think they're in really good shape, because I think Dallas plays Miami Christmas Eve or something like that, and then I think they have Detroit as well. So,
they have. I'm just looking at the schedule. They have Seahawks, the Bills, Lions, Dolphins, and twice the Commanders.
Yeah,
and also the Eagles.
I wouldn't sell Washington short.
They always play tough against the Dallas. They play tough against us too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So
our schedule better. I like our schedule the second half better than Dallas's.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think you could have some Dallas Eagles in the playoffs?
Yeah, but don't think that the Giants games are going to be easy. I mean, you're talking about potential trap games. It's those games at the end of the year which are probably going to be just as important because Dallas isn't losing right now. So they keep winning. The Eagles have to keep winning too, just to stay with them. So, but I am concerned with the slot corner situation. It's amazing how Kansas City didn't zero in on the slot corner position like Dak Prescott did the week before, or a couple of weeks before that. So maybe the Eagles have this kind of figured out on defense. What do you guys think of the job that Desai has done so far this year?
Oh, excellent. Excellent. I think he's doing a great job. For somebody first years, yeah, he's doing an excellent job. Some people on Twitter, some people say that if they had him last year, would have been winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, yep, absolutely.
Without a
Imagine
doubt.
if he's made some of the changes at halftime that he's been making all season in the Super Bowl. I like how he switches it up a lot. Like he has a lot of different looks that he presents to offenses, and he's constantly switching things up, which I really like.
He's still not blitzing a lot, but that's okay as long as they're actually able to make the adjustments.
Yeah, he blitzes when you don't expect him to, and it works out.
Yeah.
And I mean, look what he did to Kansas City in the second half. He held them scoreless. And go back 3 weeks ago against the Dolphins, the defense dominated that game. I know the Dolphins might have scored 17 points, but I think one touchdown was the defense's fault. That was it. I mean, the Dolphins offense, no joke.
And I'll tell you, the Dolphins defense is no joke either. They potentially could really, make some things happen in the second half here.
But I think there's a good team yet, though.
No, they haven't. Right. Yeah, they haven't beaten anybody that's really good, but they're very explosive. And their defense is playing better. So I don't know.
Put up 70 against Denver.
I mean, that is just amazing.
That's crazy.
The AFC's got a lot of teams that are in that race, but we're really going to talk a lot when they play San Francisco next week. I don't know. I think honestly, I think they can beat Buffalo, and I think they can beat San Francisco. I just don't think they're going to win the Dallas game at Dallas. I just don't see that happening. They are going to struggle. I think Dallas is going to put 35, 40 points on. I just got that feeling that they are.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Eagles have the firepower to put that much back on them. But, we were talking.
I'm looking at the line for the San Francisco game. What do you guys think the line is?
The game next week?
San Fran,
they already have a line.
Probably one.
No, it varies as long. I mean, a couple of them is mine and 1.5, but it's high as 3. So most of 2.5. So it's 2.5. So it's slightly less than 3.
Wow. So that means that if the game was at San Francisco, they would have maybe a 4-point. They'd be favored by maybe 4 points if the game was at San Francisco.
3.5.
That would be favored.
Oh, 3.5. Okay.
Because to just have 3.5.
Yeah. I got you. But I mean, could anyone have imagined that this team was going to be 9-1 at this point in the season? I mean,
I'm shocked that Dallas lost. I'm still shocked that Kansas City lost. I mean,
I'm shocked that they beat Washington twice. They could have lost both of those games.
Yeah. They keep winning the tight games.
They haven't won a game. They have not played a complete game this year. I don't think they've won. They have not won a game by more than 14 points, I believe. I think the only one that they had a little bit of breathing room with was, I think, Tampa Bay or Los Angeles. So they, and I guess this is a sign of that they can play when the chips are down and, they're under a lot of pressure. But, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I don't like that they're winning all these games this way because I just feel like in the playoffs, something's going to happen and they're going to lose. But then again, this is really good for this football team. But do you guys think that Jalen Hurts overall is playing as I mean, he had a great year last year, but he's had a lot of great second half heroics. Do you think that he's had as good a year this year as last? Do you think it's slightly less better, or do you think it's, nowhere near as good as it was last year?
I think
Um,
he's injured. I think he's injured, and they're not telling you the whole story. He
Well,
doesn't look the
that
same.
we know it's his knee. We know that it's his knee, and we don't know what is. And that's another thing. He's injury prone. I mean, this is the third year he's starting, and he's already been hurt all 3 years. So he could be a liability injury wise. I mean, the first year it was his ankle, I think.
Ankle. Yep, the
Last year
ankle.
was his shoulder, and now this year it's his
Mhm.
knee, but he's been playing on it. So my feeling is that I think with the heroics, he's very, very close to what he was doing last year because they were winning games big, and he had, I feel like, a lot less pressure on him because the rest of the team was really pulling through. But I I think that what he's doing now really tells you a lot about the person, his character during these games, and how he's not letting the pressure get to him. Like if you're down by 14 points with 8 minutes left in the game and being an Eagles fan, I feel that they have a chance to win the game. Even though I didn't feel that way so much Monday night. But after Monday night, I'm just convinced that this football team can win uh, when things are not looking good in the fourth quarter, especially with Hurts as quarterback.
I think he's just prioritizing being a more traditional pocket passer. And I think he's worked a lot in the offseason about staying in the pocket and reading defenses more than just escaping the pocket early and running. So I think that's why it just looks a little different, but I think he's on par at what he did last year. I just think a big like problem more so is the offensive coordinator and just how the offense looks as a whole. But I don't think it's Jalen Hurts that's causing it to look that way.
It's a good point. Jimmy, what do you think?
He keeps winning. What's he like? I said earlier, 27-3 in his last 30 starts. I mean,
How about
that's incredible. Those stats.
Sirianni's record?
I-
Sirianni's record is amazing.
He's 26-5. Is 27-5.
It is amazing.
32. He's one game better, they said, than Andy Reid's best stretch. I think
Wow.
Sirianni's 27-5, and Andy Reid's best stretch was like 26-6.
Wow. That is amazing.
And like you said, like if you get down 10, 14 points, Hurts has got you. He's the last 7 times he's been down 10 points, he's come back and they've won. So
Yeah.
keeps winning.
You're right. That's the bottom line. They keep winning the games, but they're doing it with mirrors. The one last thing is that if Scantling catches that pass in the end zone, the Eagles still had just under 2 minutes to work with to either tie or win that game anyway, even if they scored. So I was really surprised that they went, they went for the jugular with so much time remaining in that game. So,
Yeah.
I still think the
Lost
Eagles
in the game
would
doing
have.
that.
Yeah, I think we would have been fine. Even getting if they scored there. I think there was like a minute and 54, 55
Yeah, it
seconds.
was just under
Yeah,
2 minutes.
Exactly. Just
That's a
under 2
lot
minutes.
of time, and I think 2 timeouts
Yeah,
too.
I think we would have been fine and we still could have won that game.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know what?
I agree.
The Patriots, when their heydays, like they always win. They win ugly. Every time somebody goes to their house, they choke. And that's what reminds me of the Eagles. Like you look at the Dallas game, Dallas supposed to win and they lost. They look at the Kansas City, they're supposed to win and they lose. For whatever reason, the people start choking up. And that just like they win ugly. And that's what usually New England used to do in the
Yeah.
I would be so afraid to play against the Eagles later in the season because they're winning all these games and they haven't put it all together yet.
Yeah.
They're winning because they have a great talented team and a great culture. Like if they put it together, like I would not want to play the Eagles.
Oh yeah,
Well,
especially if you
you know.
had a decent like offensive coordinator. I mean, I don't know if Frank Reich gets fired, right? Would they bring him back as an offensive coordinator next year, or he's Doug's guy? So no way.
Yeah, that's a good point. But going back to your point, Will, they may never completely put it together all year. This might be what you're getting. So
They're
you have to be
still knocking
cognizant of
off
that.
the top teams though. So I mean, I'm still okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they, 2 games better than everybody for best record in the league? Like that's impressive.
I think
Or no, one.
Detroit only has 2 losses.
Yeah, Detroit's only got 2 losses.
Detroit's
Right?
got 2 losses.
Yeah.
And they should have lost to Chicago. And chances are they may, even though they're playing Green Bay, they could get beat by Green Bay this week. Why don't we let's do predictions for this week. Jimmy, let's start with you. What do you think?
I can't go against them. I'm going to say they're going to win 27-24 Eagles.
27-24?
Yeah, that's what I'm going with Eagles, 27-24.
Okay. All right, now Vahe, I'm going to have you go second because Will always picks a point less. I have a funny feeling it might be completely different this week, so we're hanging by a string here to see what your prediction is going to be Sunday.
Unfortunately, I think that Buffalo is going to win, and it's going to be 24-21 Buffalo.
Wow.
I don't think Vahe's ever gone against the Eagles before.
First podcast of the it's amazing. The Eagles are 9-1, our first podcast of the year, and he's picking Buffalo.
Look at Vegas. Vegas saying like 3 points.
I agree with you. But I just can't go against them.
Guys, what do you think? If the Eagles win by 3 touchdowns, does he come on the show with the bag next week? Well, what do you got?
If they win, I'll come into the podcast with a bag on my head. I have no problem with that.
Was it going to be a Whole Foods bag?
Giant, whatever you guys want.
Something that's real thick. So, all right, Will, what do you got?
I think it's going to be a big win because Josh Allen throws dumb passes all over. He turns the ball over like crazy. I think the Bills are done. I think they're on the decline. I think we win 36-21.
I like that score.
Whoa.
I think,
nice.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you too. I think the Eagles are going to win like 31-17, but I think it's going to be the game's going to be more like it's going to be more dominating than the final score. I don't know. I just got that feeling. I just don't see Buffalo coming in here and taking the will out of the Eagles. Any last minute thoughts before we wrap this up?
Super Bowl, baby.
Let's go.
No, but just not this week, though, right? Not this week, but Super Bowl.
It's in Vegas this year, too. Let's go.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, let's wrap this up.
Take the podcast to Vegas.
Yeah, all right, let's wrap this up. It's the first one of the year, guys. We're so sorry that all 2 or 3 of you that listen to us actually have been able to miss all our podcasts, but hopefully this is the first of the rest of the year. Thanks so much. Flying high with the birds. Philadelphia Eagles talk. See ya.
Yeah.